Welcome. In this session, I'm going to discuss about a human brain. This human brain is most complicated organ in the body. Most complicated organ in the body. And the human brain develops from one of the germinal layer called ectoderm. So it develops from ectoderm. And this brain is the master control of the body, and that which coordinates and integrates different functions in the body, different functions of the body. Right now, when we see the brain the human brain consists of mainly two types of cells. One, neurons, and another one are called glial cells. So these glial cells are called neuroglia or simply glia. Right. So these glial cells uh, are supporting cells. They're supporting. Say suppose the human brain has around 1000 billion cells. So if I say that there are 1000 billion cells, so this is I'm just telling you because to tell that how many glial cells, okay, whether the neurons are more in number or glial cells are more in number. So to differentiate that, so I just take a number. So around, say suppose approximately 1000 billion cells are present. Out of that, only 100 billion will be neurons. The rest of the cells, that is 900 billion, will be of glial cells. So the glial cells are much more in number when compared to the neurons in the human brain. So the glial cells, the function is they give support and protect neurons. They give support and protect neurons, and they also help in supplying supply nutrients and oxygen to neurons. Then they also help in insulating the neurons. So insulate, okay, one neuron with another. Then they also have a function to destroy pathogens. So they destroy pathogens, and they also help in removal of dead neurons. So remove dead neurons. So these are different functions of glial cells. So just I'll keep these functions aside. So I'll just mention here these are functions of glial cells. Now these glial cells we classify into two types. I call microglia and another one called macroglia. Right. So these microglia are the macrophages. So they are macrophages. So I say tissue macrophages. And coming to these macroglia, so the macroglia is of different types like oligodendrocytes. then we have is astrocytes, and then is ependymal. Okay, so we see about the functions of these right oligodendrocytes, astrocytes, and ependymal cells, which we see in case of the central nervous system. So coming to oligodendrocytes, so these oligodendrocytes, they produce myelin sheath in brain. So they produce myelin sheath, okay, in central nervous system. So that includes, okay, brain and spinal cord. So the oligodendrocytes will produce myelin sheath in the central nervous system. Whereas we have one more, that's squam cells. So these squam cells, they produce myelin sheath in peripheral nervous system. So they produce myelin sheath in peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nerves, the nerves that develop from the brain and spinal cord, for them the myelin sheath is produced by squam cells. Okay, then coming to an astrocytes. So the function of these astrocytes. So these astrocytes are responsible for the formation of a blood-brain barrier. So they form blood-brain barrier. Okay, right, and that will actually help in removal of some toxic substances. And so here this will act, the astrocytes will act as structures that keep the blood and brain separate. So that's what the blood brain barrier. Then coming to the function of ependymal cells, function of ependymal cells. So coming to these ependymal cells, these okay, line the cavities of brain. So those cavities of brain are called ventricles. They line the cavities of the brain, ventricles. In our coming sessions, I'll detailedly discuss about the ventricles of the brain. And here these ependymal cells also help in formation of CSF. Formation of CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, is also formed. And these ependymal cells will also act as neural stem cells. So they act as neural stem cells. Okay, so these neural stem cells will help in the formation of new neurons and glial cells. So new neurons and glial cells will form from these ependymal cells. So that is, they act as neural stem cells. So that's a small information on these three types of macroglial cells: oligodendrocytes, astrocytes, and ependymal cells. So next, human brain is a highly vascularized organ. So its brain is highly vascular, means it is supplied with a lot of blood. So there is a lot blood supply. And the brain's total weight, when compared with the body, it is only just 2%. So the brain is just 2% of total weight, total body weight, but it utilizes right about 20% of oxygen. So more amount of oxygen is used by brain. and this brain is enclosed in a hard, okay, bony case, and that is called cranium. And we call this cranium uh, as brain box, right? And this is present, okay, in the upper part of the skull. So this is located in the part of, so we have seen, so here, so when we see here, so this is the location where, okay, the brain will be present. So this is the upper portion here, okay. So this is the location where we see the brain box. So the remaining portion is the skull. So the cranium is located in the upper part of the skull, and here the brain is enclosed by three membranes. The brain is enclosed by three membranes, and these membranes are called meninges. So they are called meninges, okay. Singular, you can take menings, okay, covered by three membranes. So let's see what those three membranes are. The first one is dura mater. So this is the outermost membrane. Then second one is arachnoid matter. This is the middle one. And then the third one is the pia mater, and this is the innermost one. So let us see here. Uh, this is, okay, thickness of the cranial bone. Okay, so this is a cranium. So above that we have is a skin. So here is the skin, and attached to the skin, okay, so hair. Okay, so hair, and below that is skin, and this is cranium, okay. And below this cranium we find layers. So this is the, I mean, the membranes, will find the membranes, three membranes will find. The outermost membrane, so I said it is dura mater. So this is dura mater, and below the dura mater we have another membrane that's called the arachnoid one. So this is the arachnoid matter, and one more we have below the arachnoid matter is the pia mater. So this is the innermost uh, meninx. So it is pia mater. So below this pia mater we find the brain. So here we'll see, okay, so this is the brain, right? And so that's what, so here the brain is covered by three membranes. So those three membranes are the outer dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater. Now the space between arachnoid and pia mater, space between arachnoid and pia mater, this is filled with a fluid. So it's called cerebrospinal fluid. So we have here it's fluid present between these layers and pia matter. So between these two layers is presence of CSF, that stands for cerebrospinal fluid. So this is alkaline in nature. So CSF is alkaline, and it is produced by choroid plexus. Produced by choroid plexus, and this will even fill the cavities, that is ventricles, in the brain. So there are certain functions of this CSF. We'll see them. The functions of CSF. So coming to these functions, it acts as a shock absorber. Then it supplies nutrients to brain cells, nutrients to cells, and then it helps in removing metabolic wastes, removing metabolic wastes and other toxins, right? And helps even in maintaining equal pressure within the bony enclosures, help to maintain equal pressure within the bony enclosures. So those are a few functions of CSF. Let's see in this picture those different layers. So you can see here the skin, okay, the hair, and below that we have aponeurosis. So this is a fibrous tissue, muscle and bone, especially on these flat bones you will find. So here periosteum is again a fibrous tissue that, okay, lines the bones. So here each bone will be covered on its outer side by this periosteum. So if you take a transfer section of a femur bone, okay, so you may see a tissue that covers on the outer side. So this is the periosteum. So it's a vascular connective tissue and bone. The joints will not have this periosteum. So then you can see this layer below the periosteum is, this is the, okay, bone layer, and below that we find the three meninges. So we have the outer one, dura mater. So I just said now, so this is the cranium, and below that we have three layers. So one, it is outer dura mater, and then below that we have arachnoid, and below that we have is the pia mater. Okay, so this is the cranium. Now here there is a space between the cranium and the first, or the outer meninx, that is dura mater. So that will be a epidural space. So that is called, so this space is called epidural space. And below that we have is a subdural space. So below that, subdural space. And below the arachnoid we have is, okay, so we have is a subarachnoid space, Of course, that is with the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. So now in this case, the dura mater, which is the outer one, it is okay, highly vascularized structure, and at the same time the pia mater is also highly vascularized structure. Okay, so below that we find the brain. Now we shall say about that brain in detail. So here the human brain is mainly divided into three regions. Is mainly divided into three regions. One is forebrain, the second one is midbrain, and the third one is hindbrain. So the forebrain is called prosencephalon. It's called prosencephalon. Midbrain, it is called mesencephalon, whereas the hindbrain is called rhombencephalon. Okay, under the forebrain we have okay, mainly two regions. One, it is a telencephalon, and another one called diencephalon. So this telencephalon includes cerebrum, the largest portion of brain, and the diencephalon, it includes two more parts. One, it will be the thalamus and the hypothalamus. So these are two regions that come under diencephalon. So cerebrum is the one which occupies the largest portion. So it occupies, okay, largest portion of the total brain, right? And then coming to hindbrain. So the hindbrain, it consists of two parts. One, it is called metencephalon, and another one called myelencephalon. So this metencephalon, it includes two parts. One, the pons varoli, and another one, cerebellum. Okay, this is considered as a small brain. Then the myelencephalon is the medulla. It consists of medulla oblongata. Okay, so out of these three regions, uh, basing on, okay, the size, the biggest part of these three regions is the forebrain. So this is the first in position. Then comes is the second one, that is a hindbrain, and the smallest out of all these three will be the midbrain. So this is the order, okay, which I have given here based on the size. So forebrain occupies the most portion, then comes is the hindbrain, and the smallest portion of the human brain is the midbrain. Now during the embryonic development in the cerebral, okay, in the cerebrum, right, the cerebral cortex, it increases in size, and as a result it will be thrown into a number of folds. So you will find folds in this way. So so these are all the folds you will see in the brain. So I'll just show you in a picture. And so this results in the formation of something called gyri and sulci. So here the gyri, so which will be the folds. Okay, so of course the elevations what you see here, so this is a gyrus singular. Okay, and these depressions are called sulcus. Okay, gyrus are actually elevations or ridges. You can say them as ridges, whereas sulcus are depressions. So these are depressions. So here is the diagram where I would like to show you. Okay, so these, okay, you can see here, these are the depressions. So you can see here the depressions. So these depressions are called, okay, sulci, cingulate sulcus, and you can see the ridges here. So these are all the ridges, and they are called gyri. So they are called gyri. Okay, right. So here I'll just mention. So this is how you will see. So these are the gyrus. This is the gyrus, and this depression is called the sulcus. Okay, so these sulcus, which I already mentioned, so this is a depression, and this is a ridge. So now let's see about forebrain. So I told that under the forebrain, we will see especially about this cerebrum, which forms the largest portion of total brain. So this cerebrum has two equal halves. Okay, so they are called cerebral hemispheres. So cerebrum has two cerebral hemispheres. Cerebral hemispheres. So here you can see. So this is one half of the cerebrum, and this is another half of the cerebrum here. Okay, so say this is the ventral side, and this is the dorsal side, and this will be the right cerebral hemisphere. The right cerebral hemisphere, and this is the left cerebral hemisphere. Is left cerebral hemisphere. Okay, and this each of this cerebral hemisphere, so each cerebral hemisphere has four lobes. So this one, the frontal lobe. So here the names are given to the bones. So the frontal bone, occipital, parietal, which we have seen in the human skull. So the portion of the brain present below the frontal bone is the frontal lobe of the brain. Right, in a similar way, the parietal lobe, this portion is present below the parietal bone. So it is similar case with others also, occipital lobe, and then another one called the temporal lobe. So, okay, four lobes of each cerebral hemisphere. So you can see in this case, right. So this blue portion, so all it is the frontal lobe. So all this portion, so from here to here, so this all portion is the frontal lobe. Then this yellow colored portion is the parietal lobe, and the pink is the occipital. So this portion is the occipital lobe, and this this portion is the temporal lobe. So total. So of course below this you have a cerebellum. So this portion is cerebellum, and you are able to see even spinal cord emerging. That we'll see it later. So these are four lobes of the cerebral hemisphere. Now here the frontal lobe and parietal lobe. So frontal and parietal. So these two are separated by a fissure. So you can see here there is a fissure here between the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe. So this separated by a fissure, and it's called fissure of Rolando. It's called fissure of Rolando. It's also called central sulcus, or called central sulcus. So this is where you see. So this is the portion. So you can see here This is the one which is separating the frontal and parietal is the fissure of Rolando. Okay, and similar way, there is again another fissure between the right parietal lobe and occipital lobe. So let's see another one. So between the parietal and occipital lobe, this parietal and occipital lobe, these two are separated by a sulcus called parieto-occipital sulcus. Occipital sulcus. So this, there you see the parieto-occipital, okay, sulcus. So this is parieto-occipital sulcus. Okay, and then we also have between the frontal lobe and between the temporal lobe. So you can see here there is a fissure between frontal and, okay, temporal lobe. So this between frontal and temporal. So between frontal and temporal, it is separated by fissure of Cilius. Fissure of Cilius, or also called lateral cerebral sulcus. Lateral cerebral sulcus. So you can see this is the lateral cerebral sulcus. Okay, right. So we have three nodes, and these are all separated by, okay, fissures. So one is the fissure of Rolando present between frontal and parietal lobe, and then between parietal and occipital lobe we have parieto-occipital, okay, sulcus, and this is the third one, the fissure of Cilius present between frontal and temporal lobe. Now between the right and left cerebral hemispheres we have a cleft. Okay, so this cleft is called longitudinal fissure. So this longitudinal fissure is present between left and right cerebral hemispheres. So these two cerebral hemispheres look like they are completely separate, but at the base these two are connected by corpus callosum that we will see in coming sessions. So here in this picture I can show you the longitudinal fissure. So this is the longitudinal fissure, and you can see this is the, okay, left cerebral hemisphere, and this is the right cerebral hemisphere, and this is the longitudinal fissure that separates, okay, these two. So this is longitudinal fissure. Okay, so next we'll see about the diencephalon, so which is a part of forebrain. So this diencephalon is also called interbrain. So interbrain, and this is the roof, okay, I mean the roof of the diencephalon. The roof of diencephalon is highly vascularized. So it is highly vascularized, and it has those choroid plexus, what we call them anterior choroid plexus, which becomes of this CSF and all. So the roof of this diencephalon is highly vascularized, and that highly vascularized portion is this anterior choroid plexus, and it also has the gland. Okay, and I hope we will study about this pineal gland in our coming sessions. So this is an endocrine gland which produces a hormone called melatonin. So this pineal gland produces a hormone called melatonin. So it will actually control the sleep-wake cycle. So this will control sleep-wake cycle. And this diencephalon has three parts. One, it is thalamus. Then second one is hypothalamus, and third is hypothalamus. Here, the point, as I told, this is the diencephalon is the part of the forebrain. Okay, it is a part of the forebrain, and it consists of this. Already earlier we have seen about a telencephalon that consists of a cerebrum. Okay, so we'll see these thalamus, hypothalamus, and epithalamus in detail. So this thalamus will form 80% of diencephalon. So it forms 80% of the diencephalon, and this thalamus will form actually the side walls of the third ventricle. So this also forms the side walls of the right third ventricle, which we see those ventricles separately. Then this thalamus will act as a relay center. So this is a relay center, or I can also call it a sensory switchboard, or sensory switchboard. And this thalamus also acts as an interpretation center. So just I'll mention here. So thalamus acts as an interpretation center for sensory impulses. For sensory impulses like the pain, temperature, light, touch, and pressure are some sensory impulses, and this one acts as an interpretation. That is, the thalamus acts as an interpretation center for these sensory impulses. Okay, so we'll see the remaining in the next session.